Here in week 5, our discussion is centered on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And oddly enough, this is something that's been on my mind a lot as of late. Last week, the FSU athletics department had a visit from an early 2000s basketball alumni, Chris Vaughn, and he had set out on this mission to run 5 marathons in 5 days to raise awareness for Team Marvels, which is a special needs baseball team that he personally coaches. So what Chris does in his day job is he's an adaptive physical education teacher. And what that is physical education that's been modified so that it's appropriate for students with disabilities. So for somebody like Chris, this subject would be near and dear to his heart as a parent of a child with special needs. I personally consider myself to be an equal opportunist. I feel that everyone deserves an opportunity to participate, regardless of who they are, where they're from, what their background is. I don't think anyone is undeserving of participation opportunities in sports and recreation. In other courses like sports law and ethics, legislation that comes up is topics like Title IX, Civil Rights Act of 1964, EEO policies, ADA. These are all official policies that are means of protecting different populations of people. And in theory, you should see these enforced in any everyday workplace. Sports is no different. These two topics are not mutually exclusive, whether that be in a front office position or on the field. I had found a post from the International Business School in Barcelona that I'm going to directly quote here, and it says, "Inclusion goes beyond merely having a diverse team or fan base. It involves creating an environment where all individuals feel valued and respected." Combining sports and DEI has led to some truly remarkable feats over the years. When I first saw our prompt, my initial thoughts went to organizations like the Special Olympics and Unified Sports, but there are more examples out there than just those. Another one that comes to mind pretty readily is the Paralympic movement. If you were to look at a photo of the International Paralympic Committee, you see nothing but DEI resonating. I would say over the years, professional sports has been an area that this idea of diversity, equity, inclusion continues to grow in. I found this article from 2022, and it talked about how the previous year the WNBA had received the top scores for racial and gender hiring practices among professional sports leagues, and that the WNBA had held that top position since 2004. Later on in that same article, it talked about how the men's leagues closest in comparison to the WNBA's racial and gender report card were the NBA and Major League Soccer. In January this past year, we saw the first female referee officiating at the Super Bowl, and that definitely served to smash some bias about women in the sports world. I would say that in any of these cases, their means of demonstrating their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion really rests in their leadership and governance, as well as their transparent HR practices. Someone is in a job not just because of who they are, but more doors have opened because they have the skills that they do, and people are now looking at them specifically.